Hello, everyone.
You're
Welcome
muted,
back.
Tess. Tess, you're muted.
Every time. It's probably for the best.
Welcome back to Fireside, everybody. We are working on our Firekeepers story.
Sorry, I had the stream playing in the background and I could hear everybody twice.
Okay, so let's do a recap of where we're at. So we've got our kids off at camp.
Yes.
Xander sees Bigfoot. Bigfoot is carrying a crate, drops a deck of cards. Xander picks up the deck of cards and finds out that the cards open portals to this special island. We were debating last time about Millie being a water spirit cursed by a witch, and the magic 8-ball that she is bound to has different special properties. Last week we had Doug on with us.
Yes.
Who helped push us a little bit with a 8-ball covered in eyes.
I see everything.
Right? You just like drop it and you just picture it going like.
Its loving owner has like eye drops.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we even went as far as like discussing like the island that Xander went to could be like a plethora of other islands, but they only encounter the first one.
Right, like a series of adventures waiting to happen.
Or those islands like portal
we
in
did,
or
we did upset. We did have an upset, right? Because we were initially talking about Millie, the assistant, being the bad guy, but now we're not so sure if maybe she's a victim on her own right. Is that correct?
So more misunderstood than bad guy, but that still helps push a story if it's you know what I mean. Like if people think that they're, it's like Snape and Harry Potter. Like you thought he was the bad guy, or you thought he was a bad guy, and then it turns out like even like
I mean, he kind of was. Come on.
Well, he was. Like you go back over like there's a couple of things I went back over like when he's fighting McGonagall and she fires this magic at him and he deflects it, right? He deflects it at the two bad guys behind him and takes them out. Then before he teleports away, he takes their wands. But it happened so fast you didn't see it. But like later on, you start realizing like, really though, like he's protecting children and stuff, and he's still doing the things he's supposed to do. So even if he was a bad guy, like he doesn't necessarily like. He's a bad guy, but not a bad guy, I guess.
You suspect him to be a bad guy, and then it turns out he's a good guy, but then you realize he actually was a bad guy.
Or pretending to be a bad guy. Yeah, he was just pretending to be a bad guy.
He's been both.
So
he's like a quadruple agent by this point.
Right. Doesn't even know who he is anymore. I'm this guy. Well, we had on Monday we were talking about possibilities for Millie to be something or a part of something bigger.
Yes. I'm
I
going
just kinda
through our notes.
I kind of threw that out there, and then you were like, "No, save it for stream. Save it for stream." Like, cool. All right. Stream time.
Stream time. Let's go. So we need
Go
a
ahead.
bigger bad guy than Millie.
Well, it's not so much a bigger bad guy, but maybe like, well, yeah, because if Millie is trapped in that or in that magic 8 ball, then somebody had to put her there, which you would originally think is a good guy, because you think she's a bad guy, but then it turns out it's the other way.
Or some
she's actually-
sibling rivalry. I mean, my kids lock each other up all the time.
That's right. Because it's true. Because if she ends up being one of the ideas that we thought of, the other two parts of that idea wouldn't really need her, depending on which part of the idea she is.
Mm. So cryptic.
So we need to work on the motivations for Millie and how she's getting Bigfoot to do her bidding. And then we need to make a decision on the teleporting. So far for the teleporting, we have that the magical deck of cards needs to be pushed with some amount of force, whether that be shaking it violently or ripping it in half, right?
Yeah, we still haven't decided how we're gonna like activate the. Because if they could rip them in half, and then if they put them back in the deck, they could just, once they're like charged up again, they could just fix themselves.
Self-repairing.
Yeah. Or the fun thing, and then this is just me, just because I love great. What if the back of the card changed, so you couldn't use that card again until the other ones are done? Right, so that would explain when Xander goes to show the other two, he pulls a card out, but it's already used card that's been fixed. So when he rips it, it doesn't do anything, right? Because it's a different card. It's a used card already that's been fixed.
Like the backs of the deck start off blue, and then when you use them, it becomes red.
Yeah, right. So then at first you'd be like, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Why is there, a deck of cards with, a bunch of them used and a bunch of them that aren't used, right? It's like, or a bunch of different colored ones, right? It doesn't make any sense." And then we could leave clues for people too, because when they flip it over, the kings and the jacks and the queens, right, could look like something.
Yeah.
So maybe when the deck is all used up for the world that Millie and the magician are in, right, then it goes to another world. And the clues to the next world are in the face cards if they use them. Or the backs of the cards. What,
I kind of do like the finiteness of running out of cards, because it allows us to reinvent it too over time.
Well, that's just it. They wouldn't be able to reuse those cards. And 52 cards probably takes a long time to use, if you think about it. But if we use that mechanic for something else, maybe, like once they use something for a portal, it just goes back to the island and reappears on somewhere else some other time for somebody else, right? Or something. But then the question arises, why is something trying to get things onto the island?
Hmm.
We're off of the island.
Right. And if Millie is the idea that we're kind of coming across, if she was the one forward thinker, if you guys know what I mean, then it would make sense that that's why she's locked up, is so that nobody could see anything coming. Right? It would be a surprise. Like, there's no thwarting of plans because nobody can see anything coming.
There's some big notes we got going on there.
I had to highlight the questions. There's so much in this document, and it's all over the place. Okay, so we know that there's that's where all of the mythical creatures come from. We decided on that.
Yeah, because then it explains why they are seen sometimes, but not always.
Yeah.
Like if we ever do like the Loch Ness Monster, that's why you can't find the Loch Ness Monster, because it just goes back to its body of water on one of the islands.
Perhaps there are natural portals that open and close.
That makes sense. You could find a reason too for why the portals are more frequently opened during summer, right? That would explain why the camp is there and why they like the activity at something to do with the camp is helping charge, or right, like, you know, Monsters Inc. with the kids laughter was more powerful than the kids fear.
Yeah.
But like maybe the presence of enough children can do something.
Maybe it's got to do with the power of belief. So you get all these camp stories, right? And a bit like prayer giving power to the gods, right? It's camp stories giving power to the mythical.
I think that plays really well into our theme too.
Yeah.
100%. Right? If you believe, you can achieve. Right?
Yes.
So if they're like, and then that's the best part too, is like, example, if some kid's in the woods and maybe it happens by accident. Some kid's in the woods and he hears a noise. There's absolutely nothing in there, but the kid's terrified that it could be Bigfoot. Next thing you know, Bigfoot's like, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
What if we flip the script entirely? What if Millie is actually banished from the island? And she can possess something and go back, but she can't leave that possession until she comes back to our world. So she's trying to destroy the camp so that she can go home.
So she's like piggybacking off of, like, she's like trying to hitch a ride with things that can help her sort the camp out.
So there's something with the camp that's keeping her anchored.
Could be some old, like we discussed before, that maybe the camp is built on some old ruins or something. So maybe she needs to put something together on the island, but all the pieces are on.
We've got to
around.
collect the Triforce.
Well, yeah, something like that, something fun, because then that way we get to design a cool looking thing that's in pieces.
Yeah.
Which people could, you know, print and put together themselves. But I like the fact that like her being the 8-ball, because what if she wasn't always an 8-ball? What if she has the ability to change into something that's most likely to help the person holding it? So when the magician found her, she might not have been an 8-ball. She might have been something else entirely, right? But to him, having an 8-ball that can say things to him allows her to communicate better, but it's something he won't get rid of, right? It's something that he'll hold dear.
Okay, well, instead of her changing into it, she could just possess the 8-ball because that was an actual way she could communicate with him. Whatever she was before probably couldn't communicate at all.
Right. Yeah,
So
I guess
she-
it's better than her
take over
being
the
like a magical transformer.
I used to be a slug. Now I'm an 8-ball. Thank goodness. Right.
Should have been a cell phone. Damn it, could have texted
Right.
her.
The power she would wield as a cell phone.
Right? Yeah, no, well,
So
yeah,
no cell reception at
yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is there's no. So she wouldn't be.
Yep.
So if anybody ever asks down the road, well, why didn't she turn into a cell phone? There's no cell reception at the camp. In fact, it's really odd. There's no electricity at the camp either. It's this weird field, and they can't figure out why there's no electricity. So if there's no electricity, that means that there's no like
well, if we
PA
have
systems
that,
or radio.
that might kill any flashlights or anything.
They'd have to use torches. Kids don't have to use that stuff anyway. They'd have
Camp
to use
activities. Build your lantern. You'll need it
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah. You get to build a lantern or glow sticks, or like you get to more fun things to use, right? Like
There's a giant stockpile of glow sticks at camp.
right. And we can make things that go into glow sticks. I'm just making a lot of work for us, but it'll be fun.
I see. She's used bioluminescence algae as a diversion.
Right? Or like put fireflies in a jar, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like those little cute. And then one of the fireflies is not a firefly; it's a fairy.
Oh, let me out! Hello.
Exactly. Yeah. Only she's not like she's more like naughty Tinkerbell style than like, nice and whatever.
She's been hanging out with those nasty genies.
Yeah.
Who make your wish come true.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. For a price. But that does open up a lot of stuff too, right? Because like we could get into stuff like, the era or the time shifts once, and they're like set like 50 years before they're supposed to be. So there's stuff that's there, right? So like Millie sent them back in time 50 years because there's an artifact that they're looking for that they couldn't find, or it left. But she knew
Yep.
it was there at that point. So she's using the 8-ball to communicate something to help them, because they could get their hands on the 8-ball at some point, right? Or maybe she can communicate with everybody that believes, because we had thought about that too, right? Anybody that believes in her or believes in the idea of something, right? Then she can communicate with them in a way. So through an 8-ball.
Robin Williams in Never Never Land, and he can't see anything until he believes.
Right? All the food showed up once he believed the food was there.
Yeah.
Right? But like she could communicate with people like in mirrors or in a compass, because I really want to make a compass. But she could do a compass too. Like one kid's like, if this ever points north, it always points this way, and then he follows it, and then whatever. And then she could move through objects too. Why not? She stays in the 8-ball to recharge, let's say, because that's where the most belief is for her, which helps her
So
recharge.
now she's a ghost?
She doesn't have to be a ghost. She could be like a little, like she could look like a little bolt of lightning that moves through things. And then the kids would be saying like, I'm seeing this current, seeing this current of energy. And then the guy'd like, there's no power around here. We're on a solid plate of metal or something. He can make some excuse why there's no energy, but this kid's like, no, I swear to God, I saw it. It went right into this. It went right into that.
Okay, so I think we're definitely leaning that Millie was banished.
Yeah, she's trying to free herself.
Which then ties back into how did she get banished?
Well, if there's a power struggle on the island and she can see what's coming and they're planning a coup, sort of as Matt might have suggested earlier. I'm not
Which
sure if I read that right.
Which ironically, you'd think she would have seen it coming. Unless she can't see her own.
Well, maybe it's not that she can see everything all the time. She doesn't know everything. But there's a possibility that she can see things coming. And whoever it is doesn't want to take that risk.
Right.
Maybe.
No, that's definitely...
Because having a character that's overpowered with their ability will just break the story, right? If she can see everything coming, then it's...
Right, if she can't see her own, like herself, like it's always like fuzzy when she's involved in it. Then ironically, whoever banished her kind of freed up that fuzziness.
What if it's like Bruno from Encanto, where everyone sort of believes his visions are only bad luck?
Yeah.
Right.
And it turns out it's them that make their own bad luck based on what he said to them. Yeah, I like that too. That was...
We don't talk about Bruno. I really enjoyed that movie. All right, I'm out of coffee.
I made myself 2 nice bottles of water that I left in the fridge.
Oh no.
Okay. Because the fun thing would be too, if whatever banished her from the island is floating around the camp, but they're so well blended in that nobody can tell the difference. So what if it's a kid who's trying to foil her plans? So throughout the story, we could put that in there, like, oops, she's about to tell one kid something on the 8-ball and he bumps into the kid, or, oh no, I dropped too much stuff in the fire. You know what I mean? So like there's like just these you know what I mean? Like these little deterrents that are happening, but nobody really notices because you don't really take a second look at a kid. That's oh, that's Louis. Louis tripped again. Right? But what if Louis tripping on purpose because he knows that she's trying to orchestrate something, so they're slowly trying to help. I mean, not that we want to make an extra character or whatever, but I mean, we're gonna have to do a bunch of other camp kids anyway, right? But what if there is a mole from the island that we can't? You know what I mean? We don't really notice because we all showed up at camp on the same day, right? So it could be like a new kid. There could be like little and I'm probably ruining it on stream, but there could be little fun things that we could do, like if we did like a first day class pictures and that kid's not in there or he's fuzzy, but we just released the picture to you know what I mean, and people can see the picture and they probably won't even notice, but it'll be something later on down the road that they can look back at the picture like, oh my god, he was fuzzy, that was a clue the whole time. That's only an example clue. I won't be giving any more out on the stream. Those will be private conversations, but that's just an example. I was kind of saying, like, just little, you know what I mean? We could leave little breadcrumbs throughout the story we're telling visually, right? That we could plan ahead that would give indication after you figure it out that, oh my God, this whole time. Because then people would revisit the story again to try and catch that stuff. Do you guys ever do that? Ever watch a mystery and you're like I remember the first Mission Impossible at the end when he like figures out everything, but if you rewatch Mission Impossible and looking for those clues, they're there, right?
Yeah.
The way he talked, the way he was holding the gun, the knife, like all those little clues.
Or there's a wall in one of the cabins that has pictures of generations, and the same kid is in every single one of them.
Yes.
Right.
But like seriously, have you looked at school photos over generations? They're all the same kids.
Pretty much.
There's like a limited amount of what kids look like.
They've joked about that on like press conferences. They're like, the internet's broken, and like somebody paused it. They're like, that's the same person right there and there. So like they like overlap to make it look busier in the thing, but they're just copy pasting people. So people are actually looking the same way too. It's just like,
That's
no,
so
there's
bizarre.
triplets there that aren't sitting together. That's really weird.
Yeah.
You have a relative over there you didn't know about, right? But there could be other fun things too, like, I don't know, whenever they drink something or they eat something, this one kid just doesn't eat, or they never notice he's in the mess hall till like later. He's never gone to eat. Why would he never go to eat? Well, if he's a god or a deity or something, why would he have to eat? Right? He's whatever.
Okay.
Or he eats way too much and they don't know where he puts it and how he's so small still. Right?
There's
Turns
always
out-
that kid who just eats everything and you don't
yeah,
know where
exactly.
it's going. Hollow
Yeah,
legs, right?
Yeah. Or that kid that's just too good at new things. You ever have that? I had that one kid at school. Today we're going to learn how to play lacrosse. Okay. And why is he so good at lacrosse? He's just a natural athlete. Yeah, I don't believe that. Yeah, today we're going to play racquetball. Oh, look, he's good at racquetball too. Like, is he not good at anything? Like, you know what I mean? Why is he so good at stuff? Well, it's
Goes out on the lake, catches a big fish.
yeah.
Everyone else is like, these little fish.
Never been fishing before.
Yeah.
Giant fish.
Or if we
I
don't
don't
want to
There's
lose,
the Loch Ness monster like giving him the fish.
Yeah, right.
Under
Well,
the
yeah,
water.
the other creatures are
There
like
you
helping him.
go.
Or he commands them, right? Like, hey.
so
Like
what?
roast. Oh. Let's say he roasts the perfect marshmallow. It's like that's all yellow. That's not possible. There's no black on that. I don't know. That's
Well, if instead of a deity, what if it was actually a mythical creature that is supposed to be Millie's guard?
so like yeah, but he's under disguise.
Yeah. So our main villain is still back on the island because we're kind of getting away from going back to the island at all.
That's true, but like I was just thinking like it'd be fun to have like this little like implant throughout the whole story that later on people would, like I said, want to revisit the story again to see if we actually left those clues or not, right? Like the picture on the wall and he's in there, right?
So what if the cards not only open the portals but help the creatures disguise themselves as campers? So when Bigfoot actually drops his cards, he turns back into Bigfoot and then goes through.
What if the badge?
So he looked like a camper and then he dropped his card and he turned into Bigfoot?
Yeah.
And then he disappeared through the portal. And the kids are like, what the?
And it's just Xander, right?
Derek turned into Bigfoot and disappeared.
What?
Sure,
what if,
Xander. Okay, go back to sleep. Yeah.
What if it was a camper badge? But they have they have special ones, right? So that Like, I mean, that'd probably be like a too obvious of a clue. But if we're aiming for kids, right? Like Bigfoot would have a badge. His badge would be like naturing, right? Obviously, because he's Bigfoot. But while he's looking like a human, he's just really hairy, like super hairy, right?
Just a really hairy 10-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it could be like full head of hair, like, you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
not nice to say that about Derek, okay? Just
yeah. You know? Oh, Bigfoot called Bigfoot Susie, like Sasquatch, right? Susie.
right.
But it like just make them like, you know, overly hairy or like proportioned almost like Bigfoot, but as a kid, right? But it's the badges that they have. So not that all the kids have to wear a certain sash, but all the kids get to have a badge. So if we gave them something that they could collect their badges in, or whatever, right? And that's what Bigfoot drops when he's running away is badge.
So do we need to give our kids a sash or a vest or something? No.
I was just thinking they could just be something they can pin on whatever they want, because like we want people they want the kids to feel free in expressing themselves, so they can put their badges on whatever they want. So like for instance, like
Remember back, so like in the 90s, like button badges were a big thing. People used to like
yeah, that's
have
what I'm
them
saying.
all
Like
collected on
like
their hats
yeah.
or their vests or their school bags.
Yeah. So like RJ could have any buttons that he earns, he could, or badges that he earns, right? He could have them on his hat, and like Xander could have him on his okay, his thing, his
Fanny pack.
His fanny pack, right? He could have them in his fanny pack or on his fanny pack or on the belt, right? It doesn't change the design of our characters because we want the kids to express themselves in a certain way. So Susie the Sasquatch or Bob the Bigfoot, Derek. I like Derek. We'll just call him Derek. So Derek the Bigfoot, Derek Bigfoot, right? Could have his on like a hat that he has or something, right? But as he's running through the woods, a branch like, knocks it off his hat because he's frantic, right? He knows Xander's chasing him, so he's frantic.
Imagine he gets an itchy head and he's just like this. It turns into Bigfoot, and then back to the kid
hilarious. Yes, yes. Right? He just takes it off and scratches his head. It's like, all he sees, poof. He goes right big, and he's like, oh, puts his hat back on.
Yeah.
Back small again. One of the kids is like, "Do you smell wet dog?"
I'm gonna clip your little grunt there. We're gonna use that.
Awesome.
But I like because then that helps us with our other idea that we want to do, right? But theirs could be like older looking, right? Like there's a distinction from them compared to like our three kids that get theirs, right? Like, and then every time you ask him for his badge, can I see that? No, it's my favorite badge I had. You know what I mean? Like I earned this. I worked really hard for you. You can't see it. Oh, come on, let me see it. Let me see it. I do like that though. He has to scratch his head. That'd be fucking cool. It'd be a fun little animation to do too. Like just. Because that would explain why Derek, the little kid, eats a ridiculous amount. And he's a vegetarian. Theoretically.
Yeah.
Right. But he's so naturally, it's just like, we're going to build a campfire. And he's like, perfect campfire every time. Or we're going to build we're going to build our shelters today. He's perfect little shelters. Like, how did you get that branch? Is that a tree? No. How'd you get that here? Right. But he could be like, but Derek, the Bigfoot, right, could be helping the kids help Millie too, right? He could be her guardian, but he could also be like the help, or he could be the one thwarting the plans.
Starting to pity her.
That, or he's never agreed with whatever the outcome was for her, or befriended her, or maybe he had the 8 ball first, or something like it originally, and whatnot.
Okay, so let's try and put this all in order.
Because it would explain the if we had a story of like all these kids that went missing before the end of the camp year or camp summer, like 5 kids went missing, right? It's because they all went back. No parents came to pick them up because they weren't kids. And that could be one, like that could like revolve into a scary story, right? 5 kids disappeared the night before.
And it explains why the counselors don't know anything, because they weren't actually registered kids with the camp.
Right.
Right, yeah.
And then every time we bring up Derek's not there. Right? Where's Derek? I don't know. Right? Let's go, Derek, the kid with the wilderness badge. Looks kind of like this. We don't have that kind of badge. What do you mean? Well, we did have that badge back in 19 diggity. Right? Because the badges could be sewed with a special type of thread from the other side. I'm just spitting ideas. You can shut them down at any time. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, huge brainstorm, and then we'll just refine it through the grinder later.
A magical thread makes more sense than the actual patch. The patch doesn't actually matter.
Well, yeah, Hi, Jeff. But it could be anything sewed for, you know what I mean? But see, the thread ties into Millie and what we talked about. Maybe. Dropping clues, everyone. Dropping clues. Somebody will get it.
Okay, well, let's recap here what we've got so far. We're just going to move our old notes to a new page. Okay, so we have Xander.
Where's Xander?
The kids are at camp.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And one night, Xander follows Derek into the woods. Right?
Yep.
Who doesn't believe him when he says he just needs to go pee?
Yeah, why would you be carrying a box with you if you need to go wee?
Right. Because that box could have like multiple items of things that she needs in it too, right? Or it could be just a big box of 8 balls, but it could be like whatever's in the box is what she needs to have put together or used for something.
Okay. So when Derek removes his hat, he turns into Bigfoot.
Oh, and at first they could think that they could think it's his hat at first and not realize it's the badge on the hat. So when Xander comes back out, or like when they try to take his hat off on him to show him, he put his badge somewhere else.
I got another one for you here in just a second, but let me come back to it.
Yeah. Okay, don't forget.
I won't. Okay, so he takes his hat off and turns back into Bigfoot. Xander scares him. He drops his hat. Bigfoot hastily rips a playing card and disappears.
I'm just gonna be 1 second, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Drop his deck of cards.
I don't know how to stealth mode out. Yeah.
Oh, I changed our whole arrangement here.
Okay, and disappears, but he drops the deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
Xander finds the cards. And brings all the items back to back. No. Are we doing Xander goes through the portal first?
So he rips a card but drops the box of cards. Xander finds the cards. Does he go through the island first? Or does he bring them back to his friends and it doesn't work?
Or what if Bigfoot doesn't drop the cards this time, but Xander follows him through?
Uh-huh.
And he finds the cards after he's already on the island.
How will he know how to activate them? Oh, he saw Bigfoot rip one on the way through?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that could work. So he comes to the island. The deck of cards is on the floor because Bigfoot's disappeared because he's quick.
Okay, so we got to look at Xander's adventure all by himself. Xander retrieves the remaining cards and is able to get back. Okay. Roberts is a counselor?
Yes.
That likes to put on a magician show for the kids.
Can do.
In his boxers and bunny slippers. Okay. As soon as Matt gets back, I'll get to my idea here. So Roberts is a counselor that likes to put on the magician show for the kids. We could always make him in normal attire when he's doing it, so it's not weird. But then perhaps he gets trapped on the island. You're muted.
Yes, of course. So that because the first idea was that he was counselor during the day, and he was caught off guard at nighttime, right? And he's wearing his robe and his fuzzy slippers, right? Like, so when he's putting on a show for the kids, he's not wearing his underwear and buddy slippers, right? That would be a bit weird. I mean, if we were writing a show in the 80s or the 90s, it'd be fine.
Not
anymore.
Okay, so what if it's not every single plate? No, because that eliminates the bike. Never mind.
Quite a bit, but if
Okay, so let's see. Millie is banished from the magical world and trapped in ours, but is required to possess a magic 8-ball to communicate with Roberts.
Right. So that is the most advantageous thing she could possess because they're in like a EMF field of no electric items work. So she can't communicate any other way, right? That was the idea. It's better than a Ouija board.
The camp could just be so remote that there is no other electricity. That's why there's no cell towers.
Yeah. So then torches and battery items still work, but I mean, what would kids bring with them? It would just be a torch, right?
And this is at some point somewhere between the 80s and 90s, right?
So, you know, you got Game Boys with Tetris.
Okay. What did I forget?
You forgot there's no cell reception.
And
Not that cell phones were very popular back in the 90s, but early 90s they weren't really a thing. A little bit, but mainly only adults had them, right? Not kids.
yeah, it wasn't until the late 90s that they really got popular.
Mm.
So we could use that time frame.
Yeah.
Because there weren't too many cell towers then either. It was just mostly major cities.
That's right. And they had like satellite phones instead as well for regional areas. If Matt doesn't come back soon, I'm going to have to step out and you're going to have to sit here alone with your fireplace.
Okay. The islands.
What happened? Oh.
The island are mythical places. Okay.
I'm dying of curiosity
Come on,
here because
Matt,
you have
yeah,
an idea. You haven't told me.
I know. We're building anticipation.
Right, but I'm about to take off my hat and turn into Bigfoot.
Dang it.
Oh, Matt's back. Welcome back,
There
Matt.
he is.
Hey, sorry.
Ryan has this idea that he's been teasing me with the whole time you've been gone.
Oh, really?
So when Bigfoot puts the hat on, it turns him into a kid. What if when the kids put the hat on, it turns them into Bigfoot?
Okay, so I love that you said that because I was thinking of the exact same thing. I was like, what if the kids came across badges or things that gave them abilities on the island?
Right, so now we're like going into like Animorphs spy territory.
Well,
Yes.
but I think it would
Yes.
be hilarious because you could get into like some of the weirder stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, imagine if one of them becomes a genie and doesn't even realize it because, man, I really wish I had an ice cream right now. And then then he's got an ice cream. He's like, what is going on? Right? You know what I mean? But they can only the badge could fade, so they could only use so much of the badge. Right? Fade in color and then recharge to brighter. And the brighter the badge, they can, you know what I mean? They can use it. That's if they had a whole bunch of them that they've collected, and didn't have to be anything super like ridiculous, right? Like, they're kids, and then that's the best part too is you could chalk this whole story up to these kids having just an adventurous, fun time with the badges they're collecting and doing. But it's not going to be the case because it'll be so much fun. But they could get like a little superpower or like a little boost. Like heroes in Greek mythology were given artifacts and items to help their missions and help their.
Well, you should see how much faster my kids run when I give them new shoes.
Yes,
Makes sense.
that's you know what? That is the most horrible thing about being an adult is when I buy new shoes, nobody asks me how fast I can run.
Right. Also, I want light up shoes. I'm jealous.
Yes. Or shoes with wheels.
Right?
Emma asked for those for her birthday, and we were like, no, you're going to break your neck, period. So we don't need you to do that with, I don't need to help you break your neck. You're going to do that just fine on your own. So, but yeah, no, I love that. That's funny that you said that because I had questioned that. Like, what if they get a hold of Bigfoot's badge? Like, or his camp badge or his hat? Like, do they get to, but like Bigfoot's badge could be like made with Bigfoot hair in it. So when they have the badge, so like each badge could actually have pieces of something in it, like a scale from some mythical creature, and that scale allows them to swim faster or breathe underwater for a couple of minutes, or
yeah,
right. So these badges open up a whole new world, and like technically. Like, what if Millie needs the kids to go over? So what if Derek is actually not a Bigfoot? What if Derek is actually just Derek, but he's been through this adventure before, and he's a trusted advisor he's a trusted lackey minion from. Well, I don't say he's a trusted person from Millie who gave him that badge so that he can use the Bigfoot badge to get things that she needs. Right, and then there could be.
I think that works. Yeah, except I think he should still be Bigfoot that turns into a kid though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, but for humans, it works the reverse way.
Yeah.
Right. So like Bigfoot's badge, right, allows the kids to turn into Bigfoot or have like Bigfoot strength or have like big feet. I don't. You know what I mean? Like something. Right. And the badges, the camp was created to hide the fact that these kids are walking around with these badges. Or something like that, right? So like it gives more purpose and more profoundness to the importance of the badges, right? Like the badges exist because some kid walking around that's not a camper with a badge kind of looks weird. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? But they go unnoticed if there are other kids with badges, right? And we definitely have to do one kid who had no idea about anything the whole time.
The oblivious.
The oblivious one. And at the end of the adventure, he's just like, what camp did you guys go to? Right? You know what I mean? I want to go to that camp. That's the camp we're at, dude. That's the camp we're at. Oh,
That's the kid that just follows all the instructions for everything just as given and doesn't wander off ever.
No, he's making a tent. He's got the instructions for the tent making.
Yeah,
And he's like,
he's so busy trying to get the tent together, he misses everything else.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that would be the funniest part too, is like we could do like little pictures of that, like him like trying to get the fire going, and then you see like the kids in the back like chasing Bigfoot.
Right.
And he's just kind of like does this one, and he's like, yeah, keeps doing it or whatever, right? Or you know.
All right. Well, I think we have a lot to work with at the moment. Shall we call it there and flesh this out a bit more in the Discord?
I think so. I think we got quite a few options to talk about, and then we definitely have some stuff to sculpt for next week.
Yes.
All right. Well, those of you hanging out in chat and watching, thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us.
And come hang out with us in the Discord. We are heading there next. So let me drop that link for you.
I was gonna try and bring it up, but I couldn't find can remember how to.
It's in. Except it doesn't have the link on it. Hang on. Do we have another one? That'll do.
So we are going to head over to the Fireside chat where you can actually hang out with us and chat and do everything else.
Love to hear your ideas in person. Or
yes.
Absolutely.
And this is a very special Discord because it's not just us, it's you as well. So we're really interested in seeing what you guys are doing with your projects, your artwork. We also have a keen interest in 3D printing. So if you're into that, come join us and let's chat.
Ideas, we love.
Yep.
Ideas, we love. Just people, actually.
People.
We're looking for new campers at the Fireside. So just come on over, come hang out with us. That goes for any day. Whether
come roast a marshmallow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Share a story.
What was it the other day? Pull up a log.
Pull up a log. Yeah, pull up a log. Share a story.
We'll have the marshmallows and s'more stuff ready.
Yes. I had a s'more for the first time the other month.
Tessa has to bring the chocolate, though. From what I hear, Cadbury chocolate in Australia tastes better than Cadbury chocolate over here, so you have to bring the chocolate.
I can do that.
I'll bring the maple syrup.
All right, everybody. Perfect. Well, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.